All right, everybody, welcome to our community show on relative data sharing with DataBricks. Ankar Gupta will be our host today. Um, Ankar, can you go to the next slide, please? As always, everybody, these are recorded and will be posted to our community within the next day or so. Please keep yourselves on mute. And if you have any questions, please use the raise your hand feature or enter questions into the chat. If we don't get to your questions today, we will, of course, either respond to you via email or we will put the response into our blog with the recording. That being said, if you can go to the next slide, please, Ankar. Just take a quick look at our safe harbor slide before we continue. And then, Ankar, I will pass everything over to you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Hi, everyone. A very good morning, afternoon, and evening, best based on the part of the globe you're joining from. I'm Ankur Gupta. I'm part of the product management team at Reltio, and today I'll be taking you through the overview about the Reltio Data Cloud and also the data sharing capability which we offer today with DataBricks, which enables you to do any kind of analytics and AI/ML workloads in the most easiest way possible in your DataBricks account. So with that, let me take you through a brief overview about the entire offering we have in terms of the Reltio Data Cloud. So if I start with a very basic question, how many of the organizations among you are basically facing the challenges of fragmented data or duplicated and inconsistent data, which makes it a bit challenging for you to have the trust on your data to make it useful for any kind of analytics or AI/ML workloads. And this is the exact same challenge which Reltio Data Cloud and its data sharing capabilities with DataBricks is being designed to solve. On a very high level, what Reltio does for you is it basically ensures that you are able to unify the data from your multiple sources and take it through your entire MDM processes and to provide you with the golden and the trusted data, which you can use in your downstream applications. Now, talking about it in terms of, hey, what the platform really offers, it is cloud native. So Reltio Data Cloud has been built as a cloud native solution in a microservice architecture, which can be hosted on any cloud of your choice. So based on your business strategy, you can decide to host Reltio Data Cloud on AWS, on GCP, or Azure. And considering it's a data world, the performance and the security is of utmost importance. And that's the reason we offer the performance of up to in milliseconds when it comes to the API data access. And all the security controls when it comes to the stringent of the enterprise security certification is been taken care of. And we also provide uh, the access control to the level of the attributes. At the same time, the platform offers the extensibility and the scalability capabilities to you so that you can ensure that any kind of business customization you need to do in order to achieve your data use cases, you are able to achieve through the platform. Now, and not only that, when it comes to the intelligent data graph, so today we not only provide the analysis or the intelligence on top of the structured data, but on top of the unstructured data, which you might have in terms of the documents. So if you combine all that information together with the structured data which you have in your systems, it gives you another layer of intelligent data graph, which you can make use of in any kind of your data and analytics purposes. So these are the key capabilities which are enhanced further with the inbuilt AI capabilities which we have, which basically ensures that ML-based matching and the merge solution which we already provide to you through our proprietary fund models, which is flexible entity resolution models, which gives you the capability of pre-built models based on your industry, be it in life sciences, be it in healthcare, be it in finance or any other domain. You can make use of out-of-the-box models which are pre-trained, and it saves your time for total cost of ownership plus time to go live, and gives you the best-in-class matching capabilities in order to combine the data from multiple sources unify it, clean it, match and merge, and enrich it to finally get those golden records you are looking for. And last but not the least, what we offer as part of the platform capability is the velocity packs, which ensures that hey, you can go live within a period of 90 days. And these velocity packs come with pre-configured data models, configurations, integrations, and other capabilities, which can help you go live with the MVP solution. And later you can keep on adding capabilities on top of it. So the key platform capabilities which I spoke of, on top of this, we have this core two product offerings, which is the core MDM solution, and the second is the Intelligent 360 solution. And now this is the MDM world which I spoke of. Beyond this, what we have done, like in the past, in the last 6 months or so, and the last 1 year, we have invested heavily on the AI infrastructure, where now not only you can access the Reltio Data Cloud through the world of AI, but APIs, but you can make use of the Reltio MCP server to connect any kind of your LLMs in the outside world to talk to the Reltio product. And you can build agents on top of it. In fact, now Reltio offers an agent flow solution, using which what you can do is Reltio provides you the capability of some out-of-the-box agents which are available to you, which can make the day-to-day life of data stewards much and much easier in order to perform their day-to-day activities which they were taking earlier, maybe opening multiple browsers to look for certain information and going through multiple set of steps to perform a certain action. And now it can be performed in a much efficient manner. So combining all this capabilities which I spoke of, be it in terms of the core platform capabilities or the solutions built on top of it, or the capabilities which are provided in terms of the agent flow and the connection through the MCP server, Reltio brings all this together to provide you with the trusted AI-ready data, which can enable you for any kind of AI/ML and analytics workloads in your organizations. Having said that, now I'll take you through what capabilities we have introduced into the product in terms of the data sharing. So, like if we talk about today's world when it comes to the DataBricks, we see many of the organizations like you who have standardized DataBricks as a lakehouse solution for any kind of your analytics and AI/ML workloads. And of course, to make those workloads as a successful workloads, what you need is a trusted data. And that's where Reltio comes into play. But at the same time, how do we bring this to great worlds together so that the powerful aspects of both the solutions can be combined together to make it even a better solution out there? And that's where we have brought in the data sharing capabilities, which can help you make use of the golden records or the trusted and the AI-ready data, which is provided to you by Reltio, and use it in DataBricks without any data movement, without setting up any data pipelines, or without worrying about any kind of infrastructure setup. So this is something which I'll showcase to you in the subsequent minutes, but you will notice that how easy it is for you to do the entire setup within a couple of minutes without worrying about any kind of a complexity behind what is going on, how to integrating the two systems together. So staying on this for a minute more, the data, if you look at Reltio today, we have 7 different data objects which are primarily there. You have your entities data, you have your relationships data, you have your interactions data, match and merge, and activities and workflow. So all these 7 objects which are existing in Reltio, you can access all of them within DataBricks in near real time. And when it comes to the data sharing, we provide you with 2 different options. Either you can decide to share all values, or you can decide to share only OV value scenario, which I will cover up later in the demo as well. So coming back to the key capabilities which are provided by data sharing, first is the improved operational efficiency in terms of very easy setup. Within 2 clicks, you can do the entire setup within the 2 systems. You need not worry about the complex pipelines or what is the complexity behind the integration. Second, the lower total cost of ownership. Now that you don't have to worry about the different integration patterns, different systems and everything, and all the complexity has been abstracted from you, your TCO comes really down. Since there is no data movement involved of the data which is being shared from Reltio to DataBricks, there is absolutely no risk of data security, because behind the scenes, what we do is we take care of the data sharing through the open protocol, which we call it as delta sharing. It's a cross-cloud, cloud-native protocol, which helps the data to be shared from one Databricks account to another. And since it's a real-time data share, near real-time data sharing, that any updates which are happening in your Reltio tenant will be available to you within your Databricks account within a couple of minutes. It enables you for faster time to insights. And last but not the least is the simplified schema, which I touched upon earlier, that initially, if you have seen the Reltio data pipeline with Databricks, we used to export the data out, but the data was exported into the hierarchical format. So, and this hierarchical format used to be either in the JSON or it used to be in the column struct format. The challenge with that was that you had to simplify the data structure from hierarchy to maybe a tabular format to consume it in any form of analytics or AML workloads or any other downstream application. However, now what we have done is with data sharing, we do provide you an option of sharing the data in a form that all the hierarchy, we are going to simplify it into a simpler tabular format, which essentially means that any attribute of the entity which you have in Reltio will be represented as a separate column when the data is available to you in your Databricks, which makes it much easier for you to query the data and build any solution on top of the tables which are shared with you. So just summarizing on the capabilities which I spoke of in terms of the data sharing with Databricks, there are three major important aspects. The first is the zero copy data share. There is absolutely no data export, data copy, which is happening from Redley to Databricks. It's all shared through data sharing. Second is it comes with an extremely easy setup that you don't need to worry about the pipelines or integration or integrating the two systems or spending weeks and weeks to just get the two systems integrated and then seeing your data being available in Databricks and then working on the downstream application. Now you can be up and running in just a couple of minutes or so. The third is the schema simplification, which I spoke of. So now once the data is available to you within your Databricks account, you don't need to worry about simplifying that structure from hierarchical to a flat tabular format, but we make it available to you in the out-of-the-box form, and you can make use of that in the downstream application. Now, having said that, a curious question might come as, hey, can you only, what about the scenario in which you are not looking for, let's say, a simplified format, but you would like to stick to the existing format of hierarchical? So the answer is yes, that is also available. And that is where when I said that you can configure the data share in two forms. One is either you can decide to share the data only in the OB value scenario, where if you decide that, hey, I want to share only the OV values from Reltio to my Databricks account, in that case, what we do, we simplify the structure. We simplify it from hierarchical to the tabular format. However, there's another option where you can say, I want to share all values. In all value scenarios, you will have OV plus non-OV, both the values being shared from Reltio to Databricks. In that case, data will remain in the hierarchical format, but it will not be in the JSON, it will be in the column struct format, which I'll showcase to you in the subsequent slides. So just summarizing it again, you will have both the options available to you. Depending upon your business need, you can decide whether you want to share all values, in which case the data will remain in the hierarchical format, or you want to share only OV values, in which case the data will be shared in the simplified schema format. And both of these data shares can coexist at the same time in your tenant. You don't need to set up or choose one over the another. You can have both of them active at the same time. So with that, let's have a quick look at how this data actually looks like. So this is an example of, let's say, a screenshot of a profile from the Reltio Hub UI, where I'm looking at some individual's profile. Now, how does this data looks like in DataBricks once you have shared it? So if you are sharing the all values, what you will have is, uh, I mean, even prior to that, first of all, few things which you will see is you will have different tables created for each of the entity types in your system. So if you have multiple entities like individual, a supplier, product, and so on, you will have different tables for each entity. Same applies for relationship and interaction. And then you will have single tables for activities, match, merge, and workflow. Now, if you look at one of the tables of entity, like let's say here I'm looking at entity underscore individual, and I'm looking at one of the records here, what I see is there is a column which goes by the name of attribute underscore individual. And here I can see the data, all the data of that particular record, and this is in the hierarchical format. So hierarchy, but in a column struct format, not in JSON format. At the same time, if I'm sharing my data in the OV value scenario where I have the schema simplified, what I get to see is I get to see the same columns as same attributes as different columns. So it's no more a single, it's no more the scenario where all the data is there in a single column, like let's say attributes underscore individual. Instead, the data is available, each attribute and entity is a separate column in itself when it is in the table. So like I have a separate column for prefix, I have a separate column for first name, middle name, last name, and so on. So that's how the schema simplification helps you out in order to make it much easier for you to consume this data into your downstream applications. Now let's look at the demo on how the setup comes into play. Like I have been talking that, hey, the setup is super easy. It just takes a couple of clicks for you to do the entire setup. And it's super easy for you to consume the data as well when it is in the simplified schema format. And that is exactly I'm going to showcase to you in the demo now, where I'll start with the setup. We'll see how the data looks like when it is shared and available in your DataBricks account, and how easy it is for you to consume the data in using out-of-the-box DataBricks capabilities, like building a dashboard or using DataBricks Genie to consume that data in any kind of AI applications. So I have a demo video for this, which I'll be playing. Just in case if you don't hear anything, any audio, please do let me know.
In today's data-driven world, enterprises need more than just data. They need trusted, unified, AI-ready data, delivered instantly across the business. With Reltio data sharing for DataBricks, you can securely access high-quality 360-degree enterprise data in real time, without ever copying it. Let's see how it works. Log in to the Reltio console and navigate to the data sharing application. Here, we'll create a new data share. Simply click on New Data Share and select DataBricks. Next, enter the configuration details. Start with the name of the data share. Let's call it OV-OnlyDB share. Then provide the sharing identifier of your DataBricks account. To get the sharing identifier, log into your DataBricks account. In your DataBricks workspace, click on Catalog. From the Quick Access page, click on the Delta Sharing button. On the Shared With Me tab, click your DataBricks sharing organization name in the upper right and select Copy Sharing Identifier. You need to provide the same sharing identifier while setting up the data share in Reltio. Let's go back to the Reltio console application and paste the copied sharing identifier. Lastly, specify whether you want to share only operational values data. OV-only values ensures that only OV values are shared, and they are shared in a simplified tabular format and not in the Reltio's hierarchical data format. And save the configuration. Once you get the success message that the data share setup is in progress, wait for few seconds until its status shows as active in the column Data Share. Once the data share is active, you can log into your DataBricks account and accept the data shared from Reltio through zero-copy Delta sharing. Navigate to the Delta sharing page following the same steps you did to find the sharing identifier. On the Shared With Me tab, look for the provider Reltio DPH Data Share. Click on it, and you will see the data share shared from Reltio. Next, you need to mount this data share to a new or an existing Unity catalog to view the data tables. Click on Mount to Catalog. Provide the name of the new catalog you want to create. Let's call it OV Only Data Catalog. And click on Create. Navigate to the catalog pane and look for the catalog created. Expand the catalog, and you will see the shared data tables. With this, all the data that you shared from Reltio will be available to you within your DataBricks account in a simplified schema format which is ready to be consumed for any of your analytics or AI workloads. Here you have the data related to activities, entities, interactions, match, merge, relationships, and workflows. Now, let's compare the data for one of the entities that you have in Reltio with the data shared with DataBricks. For that, log in to the Reltio Hub application. Here, we are looking at two entity types, product and product category, where I have 46 products and 50 product categories. Now, let's go back to DataBricks and load the data in product table. If we look through the entire list, we'll see that it has the same set of 46 product records as in your Reltio tenant. And not only that, the products data is shared in the simplified tabular format, which makes this data to be ready to be consumed in any of your subsequent downstream applications. To demonstrate that, let's create a simplified view on top of this table using a simple SQL query. This query is going to create a view in the existing catalog OV data catalog with the name of products OV info. Once the query is successful, navigate to the OV data catalog and look for the view products OV info. Open the view in the Catalog Explorer. And look at its data. It shows the data of the product entity attributes such as product name, product type, product ID, organization, brand, and sub-brand in a simplified format. Now we can use this view to create the dashboards on top of it using the out-of-the-box capabilities provided by DataBricks. Opening this view in a dashboard shows the entire product list by default. Let's add a global filter based on product type, which will filter the products list based on the type selected. And hide unwanted panes for better visibility of the dashboard. Now, imagine you need to see the product distribution per types. Let's ask DataBricks Genie to add a pie chart with a prompt, create a pie chart based on product type. And another pie chart based on brand. And here we have it, two pie charts showcasing the product distribution per type and brand, all based on the data shared from Reltio. Selecting a particular product type updates the product list and the pie charts accordingly. For the last part of the demo, to demonstrate the live data share between Reltio and DataBricks, let's go back to Reltio Hub UI and open any product. Let's go to Edit mode and update its type to Healthcare Supplement and save it. Now, if we go back to our dashboard and refresh it after few seconds, we should see this product appearing in the list of healthcare supplement products. And here we have it, The list that showed 4 products earlier is now showing 5 and same is reflected in the pie charts too. Thus, Reltio data sharing with DataBricks enables you to accelerate your AI and analytics journeys by harnessing the full value of your data securely, efficiently, and at scale.
So yeah, this was the demo for the data sharing with DataBricks. Before I move forward, is there any question from anyone? Okay, I see one on chat. Does it work seamlessly for every large profile which would not publish successfully through SQS? Uh, uh, could you please elaborate, Mohammed, on your question, please? If that's possible.
Yeah, can I unmute myself?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So when we have some large profiles with crosswalks having more than 200, and the overall size of the profile is more than the required size in AWS SQSQ, right? Sometimes we have seen some of the events do not publish. So it's question is regarding the large profile. So does this process handle seamlessly everything that we have, like maybe a huge profile with extreme amount of, because if we export it in current world, right, that export sometimes can go up to 100,000 records for a single profile, which has almost 30 attributes, and each is having almost around 300 to 400 values, right, in the crosswalks. So, so the Cartesian product of all such columns or all such attributes makes it a huge profile. So how does that handling happens in this scenario? Where are we publishing? So you said that the data won't be shared as such. So it's kind of having pointers back to the original data when we access that in DataBricks. I just wanted to have that clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. So data is not exported, but it is shared. So what we have is like this limitation we haven't encountered yet as such, but great question. I can always go back and check on this and let you know. However, at this moment, like I mentioned, we haven't come across any of such limitation yet in the product, and we have multiple customers who are using the solution live today. But I can always do a cross check and let you know later offline on this. Yeah. Second is to your second question. Yeah. So what we do behind the scenes in the architecture, which I can cover, maybe just give me a moment. I'll go back to my slide. So the way our architecture looks like today is this. So what we have is we have our Reltio Data Cloud platform, and we have this DPS service behind the scenes, which listens to all the events. So basically, I'm talking about this DPS service here, which listens to all the events which are happening in the Data Cloud platform, be it in terms of update, create, delete, or anything. And it writes these events to a staging container, basically, which is Reltio owned, of course, Reltio boundaries. And we make this this data available into a Delta Lake format in a DataBricks catalog. So here, this is the OV only scenario I was talking about. This is the all values scenario I was talking about. And here, since I'm differentiating it as a customer A and customer B, you can always imagine this to be as a relative tenant of customer A, and here another tenant of relative of customer B, from where these events are processing here. Yeah. So once this is being there, then through delta sharing, we make it available to your DataBricks account. So this is how this is being operated through delta sharing. Any questions on this? Okay, I'll move forward. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, just one question. So if I have say 10 million profiles, right? Would this work with the data sharing, like displaying the downstream tables in the database?
Yeah, 10 million profiles should be all good. We have, we can support all the number of profiles which you have in your relative tenant, and all the data will be available to you within your DataBricks account through the sharing.
Okay, and it will be near real time, right?
It will be near real time. So here, the catch is, for the very first time you are doing the setup, like you saw in demo, it is super quick. Just you had to provide your sharing identifier, and the setup was done behind the scenes. You didn't have to do anything beyond that. What happens is, for the very first time when you're doing the setup, like I was showing in the architecture flow, we have to ensure that all this data which is there in your Reltio tenant is available as a Delta Lake table. So that processing for the very first time takes some time. So it might take a couple of hours depending upon the amount of data which you have in the system. However, once that is done, the next time any kind of updates which are happening in your Reltio tenant will be available to you within your Databricks account in a couple of minutes. So that's what the kind of latency you can expect in the system. Any other question from anyone?
Hey, Ankur, if you
Yeah.
want to disable the connection temporarily, right? I'm doing a heavy load, big initial load to the Reltio, right? I want to just disable the connection. Is it possible?
So you are trying to say, is it like a very first time you're setting up the Reltio tenant, or
No,
is
it
it
is
like
already set up. I have set up,
hmm,
and with my test accounts, everything is working fine. Now I'm starting my production load, right? I want to do the production load. So I want to just temporarily disable the connection so that the data is not sent to the Databricks, right? So is it possible?
Yeah, so right now the pause and the resume capabilities are not available from the UI. They are available through APIs. We can do so. We are working on bringing those actions on the UI as well.
Okay.
But just taking out your scenario, see, right now the data sharing is established on a tenant to tenant level. So let's say if you're starting from your dev tenant, you loaded some data, then you did a setup of the data sharing with Databricks, and you're happy with the results. Then you move to your test tenant. Repeat the same process, and then again for the production. So this would be mostly the general process we have been seeing with almost all of our customers. But
So
another
my
scenario could,
scenario, I have a pre-prod. Okay,
yeah,
I'm going to do multiple rounds of data load for doing the match merge tuning, right?
okay,
So I'm taking the production in millions. I'm talking about records in millions, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
have 100 million I'm going to load. So I don't want that data to go to the Databricks, right? I want to temporarily disable, and after my
yeah,
match merge is completed, I reload again the 100 million. I want to sync up the data.
yeah. That is possible through APIs today. It's possible. You can call an API which can pause the data share, and
Okay.
then again you can enable that. That's all possible. And like you mentioned earlier, we are trying to bring that action on the UI so that it becomes much easier for you. Just a one-click operation that you pause the share, and then during the time it is paused, any events which are happening in Reltio will not be available to you on the Databricks side. However, when you resume, all the accumulated events will start to process.
So for example, I went live, and after that I'm adding new attributes to my entity, right? How that changes reflects on the delta share.
Great question. Actually, I should have brought that up. So right now we support the schema evolution out of the box. So let's say you started with an entity and you have 20 attributes in it. You loaded the data, and then you established a data share with Databricks. The entire data will be available to you. Tomorrow you decide to add two more attributes to it. You don't need to take any action whatsoever. System will ensure that these two attributes with their new set of data gets propagated to Databricks. So we call it a schema evolution, and it's automatically taken care of.
Got it. So if I want to extract the complete golden copy of the profiles to my upstream system and downstream system, right? How to do that? Do I need to join all the tables which you are showing at the entity level? I have
So
entity.
one quick question, Ankur, if you can go back to the previous slide, please.
Yeah.
So this queue, is it that external queue or internal queue, or is this something that we need to enable any queues, or it is already taken care by Reltio? What
This
sort
is
of queue
already
is this?
You don't need to worry about any setup at all. So this is the internal queue. I think, sorry,
Hello?
I'm missing out whether it's an external. You can hear me, right? Hello?
I'm not sure if I'm audible.
No, I could hear you. Can
Yeah,
you hear me?
we can hear
We
you.
can hear you. I cannot hear.
Okay.
Mm.
Can you hear me now?
Ankur, I can hear you okay.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay, I will just answer the question. Maybe you can check the recording later. So right now you don't have to worry about the queue setups at all. So like I showed in the demo, only thing you have to just provide is the sharing identifier. Behind the scenes, any kind of queue setup, any kind of event processing, any kind of read and write operation, which we are doing behind the scenes, will be taken care by Reltio, and it's all abstracted from you. You don't need to worry about any kind of complexity of the setup behind the scenes. All you have to do is, so basically how it happens is like this. Uh, let's say today you get the license for data sharing with DataBricks. You will let us know that, yeah, I now have this license, just set it up the solution for me. So what we will do is we will take a couple of days to ensure that behind the scenes, whatever infrastructure is needed is set up for your Reltio tenants. And once we tell you that, yeah, the infrastructure is ready, you can go to the Reltio console application and follow the steps which I showed in the demo, and your data share will be up and running. And yeah, that's it. All the complexity is being abstracted.
So
That's
question,
how the status.
I've got one question, like say we have that setup done, right? And if we have to do some post prod issues analysis, right? Say
Mhm.
in my downstream I have 99 records showing up, but in
Yep,
Reltio I have 100 records, right? So one
yep,
record is missing.
yep.
So a scenario where, so do we have or will as a consumer of Reltio, would we have access to the queues or the data, the microservices that you're processing to
Mhm.
see if there is any missing record, or we have to be dependent on Reltio support for this?
We'll make it much simpler for you. Again, this is okay. Just like in the safe harbor statement, this is not a commitment of any delivery, but this is something we are very actively looking at in terms of the monitoring on the exact same lines, 100% match of what you just spoke of. That, hey, I had my 100 entity records in Reltio, but in Databricks, what do I see? Is that like, I mean, you don't even need to go to Databricks for that. What we are going to do is we are going to provide that monitoring view within Reltio console application, where you can see both of the views, I mean, the count side by side, saying in Reltio, I see 100, and in Databricks, do I see 100 or do I see 99? And if possible, what is that missing one record? So this is something we are actively looking at right now at present. But again, I'm not committing on any delivery and the timelines, but yeah, this is on our radar.
Ankur, just one more thing related to this customer and customer be staging area. So, are we storing all our Reltio data into a database account that is owned by Reltio?
This is staging container is not Databricks account. So this is the Reltio data plane, basically where you can say, and then this data plane is being referred into the Delta tables catalog of Databricks, which is owned by Reltio. But these staging containers are completely different for each customer. So we have ensured that the security consideration has been taken care of at utmost importance. I mean, security is not, it's a built-in concept for us. It's not at all built on. So we started from there, that how do we ensure that anything and everything in terms of the security aspects, the data segregation and everything is taken care of. But again, repeating myself, here, the data, the staging containers, these are the buckets which are in the same Reltio data plane where your tenant is. And then these are being referred into the Reltio own Databricks account. And that's how, again, later in the data stage, this is being shared with your Databricks account then.
Got it. Thanks.
It's the Reltio compute that is being used. So there's no Databricks
Yes.
compute here.
Yes, right now. So what we are doing is we are trying to use the, I mean, if we go more into technical aspects, the Spark compute and other things to convert this data from the JSON format to the Delta Lake format and then store it at our end and then make it available as a Unity catalog. So yeah, behind the scenes, we are making use of several compute at the Reltio's end to do this conversion. Any other question on this? Okay. If not, I would like to cover this important aspect around security as well, since we were talking about the security aspects of the data segregation. Some of the key questions which I get to hear from customers is around, hey, how do we ensure that uh, the data is secured while in transit and all those things? So behind the scenes, we share this data through delta sharing, right? And it's an open protocol. It's a cross-cloud protocol which can enable sharing of data, which is happening across the clouds as well. So if you read about data sharing, it basically works over the public endpoints. It doesn't work on the private endpoint, and it is designed in a way that all the important aspects of security are taken care of. Like for example, whenever data is read, it is being encrypted through TLS 1.2 plus, so that all the metadata and the data are being, taken care of in terms of encryption through it. And plus, whenever the consumer, like your DataBricks account, would be reading the data, it is accessed through the REST API URLs, and they are short-lived cryptographically signed URLs, which are being made available to you through the Delta sharing server. So here, this Delta sharing server, Delta sharing, and everything is being completely taken care of by DataBricks. So all the security aspects of data in share, how do we ensure that it is being encrypted, and all the token management for access of the data from the provider to the recipient. Provider in this case is Reltio, consumer in this case would be you and your DataBricks account. Anything and everything is taken care by DataBricks behind the scenes. And there is absolutely no exposure of any kind of storage account keys or any kind of access to any other storage which was not a part of the data share. So if I just go by the step-by-step process, and if you relate it to what I showed in the demo as well, what happens is, like the moment you provide the sharing identifier and you click on save, when we try to do the data share setup, what we do is we will create a recipient based on the sharing identifier which we have provided. And when we create that recipient, DataBricks assign an access token to that recipient. And then once you go into your DataBricks account and you consume that sharing, that data share which we have shared with you, with your recipient, you make use of that same access tokens which we have assigned to your recipient to access the data. And then what happens is, if you just follow this chart on the right, when you make a request, in between we have this delta sharing server. So this delta sharing server is again taken care of by DataBricks. It authenticates your token, which was assigned to your account as a recipient, and says, yeah, fine, I see it's a legitimate access. And then it generates some short-lived URLs providing the access to the cloud resources where only the shared data is available. So through that URL, which is again shared with your user or your consuming account, you make use of those REST APIs URL to access the cloud storage directly. So this is how behind the scenes the entire delta sharing takes into effect, ensuring that all the aspects of security is taken care of. Yeah. So like the key bullet point which I mentioned at the bottom of the slide, the data is fully encrypted, strongly authenticated, and it is the recipient has access to only the files to which the access is provided, not to the other files which are probably there in the storage. But in our case, there is absolutely no case that there will be extra files. We only have those data which are specific to your tenant. There is no other data in that bucket or the storage. So these 3 extra files will never be the case. But just in case, just to bring the point home for delta sharing, this is how it is. And then it is, of course, protected by instant revocation. If needed, if you just simply there's an option we have provided on the UI where you say delete the data share. So the moment you delete the data share, anything and everything behind the scenes in terms of the data share objects that are created, any data storage objects that are created, everything will be deleted and there will not be any such uh, possibility of anything getting left behind. So it's an instant revocation solution as well, if needed. Any questions on this? Okay, if not, that's it from my end, but I'm happy to take more questions on the topic. Please let me know if you want to know more about anything we have done on the data sharing.
Yes, to Mohammed Wasim, we will be giving you guys the recording, so we'll send a follow-up email either later today or tomorrow. And then the link will also be up on our community website as well. So you guys will have access to it. One more thing is just that we do have an upcoming, I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. If I can get to it. We have an upcoming show on February 4th on our agent flow profiler. So just keep an eye out on community events page for that session that will be led by Saurabh Agarwal and Kriti Agarwal. And we hope to see you guys soon. Thank you everybody so much for joining and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.